Do you in your spiritual life feel like God puts expectations on you? And do you feel like they're sometimes overwhelming? I mean, obviously God would not expect us to truly do something that's impossible, but
Yeah. Yes,
I don't
the
know.
answer to that question is yes. Um, the reason it's yes is because I just took a moral theology class. And so I've spent a lot of time in the last several weeks, like digging into how to evaluate, decisions. And that verse that I just mentioned has been a central part of the class. Like we've been basing a lot of the class off of, well, what did Jesus say to the rich young man? You have to follow the commandments.
Yeah. Well, John Paul II writes his whole encyclical Veritatis Splendor,
which we've been reading.
That passage.
Right, exactly. And so expectations, absolutely. But another thing that, I mean, it's a great thing. This is why Franciscan's a great school.
My alma mater. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Diane hates them though. but the point is that also a huge piece of the class is not just, well, you have to follow the commandments. It's like, what's the point of the Beatitudes? The Beatitudes are to help you grow in virtue. So the expectation not of just follow the commandments, but be perfect like my heavenly Father is perfect.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It means maturing in the Christian life and growing in virtue. And the way you do that is by keep choosing virtue every time.
Yeah.
And so like it is a huge expectation, but then there's the beauty of like, well, the new law is an infused law, which means that God doesn't just like kick the door open and like push you through it and be like, go grow in virtue. He actually,
with the grace, he gives
you the grace,
he does it,
right?
Yeah.
So like it's both this situation of expectation, but also like God's holding my hand while I do it.
But it's easy to feel in our spiritual life like I'm not living up to God's expectation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think those expectations, maybe they present themselves in just the circumstances of your life, right? The sufferings that come by, and you have the opportunity to kind of, to work on virtue or to, there's the vice that we need to root out. So I feel like God is consistently calling us through the trials of everyday life, the mundane moments. How are we going to react to them? Are we going to do, all of our tasks and, obligations for love of God? There's so many ways that you can approach it, right? Of just not doing it because I need to get it done, but doing it, for the love of God, for others, making an offering of the day for souls. Just so many ways that we can grow. I think invitations and maybe where you start to feel those expectations is when you fall short of, the ways that, I had an opportunity here. And, or the suffering that I'm not fully embracing as it's God's permissive will, whether it's his permissive will, his actual will, whatever, reactions to that.
I think in our world, which has so many high expectations of people, and kind of going back to what I was saying about the family, there's so few people that love us truly unconditionally. Because there's a lot of conditions on our love. I'll love you if you're good at what you do at work. I'll love you and respect you. And I think we project that onto God a lot because we've often never experienced a true unconditional love where there's where there's like maybe not no expectations. I mean, Christ obviously wants us to grow, but that the love will continue even if we don't meet the expectations.
Right. Yeah, that he doesn't get tired of us, that we just get tired of asking, for his mercy and his help. Yeah. It's hard though, because we don't experience that true unconditional love.
A lot of times. Yeah.
And that's ultimately, right? Like that's what everyone's vocation is. It's like emulating that unconditional love in whatever the particular situation is.
Yeah.
For me, it's with Renee and my son. For you, it's with your flock, and for you, it's with your coworkers and us, of course.
Yeah. It takes a lot of unconditional love to love Matt.
I mean, you don't have to
be in the same room.
It is unconditional right now.
No doubt.